like if you come to a leadership class, you would expect me to say, so what's your definition of leadership and how are you a leader and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really going to do that. I think your character and the things you stand for will come out in these answers. Okay, so even though they seem like this seems like a ridiculous question, that's okay. Just go with it. So
Right.
let me just a little intro, and this I did from just stalking you on the internet. So your story is pretty well known, at least in local circles, that your company, the Balm Standard, is came out of one of Dio's projects, which he is quick to take great pride in. And this was 5-6 years ago, I would say, probably.
Yeah, 2015.
Okay. So
Yep.
that's when you graduated here, and you created this out of a real necessity for you. You've been taking some harsh acne medication, which completely dried out your skin, and so from that, to make a long story short, you did this in order to try to make life simpler for you, and then it kind of turned into a business, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it all kind of stemmed from the acne medication, and then it just made me want to create a lip balm product that was better for you, and it actually worked better than all the others. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are semi-recently married,
Yes.
right?
I did get. I got married 3 months ago.
Your
So,
wife Claudia,
yep.
and she is she's technically your boss, right? She's CEO.
She is my boss now. Yeah. That's just how it works.
Okay.
So happens when you get married, they just take over.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So a little bit about Balm Standard. From what I could find out, you are currently being sold in 600 retailers. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay. And across the globe, not just, California stuff, this is across the globe.
That's correct.
And this is a full-time business for you. This isn't just like a side thing.
Yeah, this is what me and my wife do full time. We actually have 3 other employees, so we're grateful to help other people as well. And yeah, that's what we do full time. So
Awesome.
make lip balm.
Awesome. All right. So here's my first question. You ready?
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay. Are you a reader?
Ooh, I mean that's a tough one. I'm to be honest, like, I'm not a big reader. I'm not good at sitting still, so I'm kind of I have a hard time focusing, to be honest. And I feel like I don't know if I have ADHD or what, but I just can't sit still and just read. So I'm big into podcasts. And so while I listen to podcasts, I can work, I can get other things done. But being me, as far as like glued to a book, it's very hard for me. So yeah, that's kind of the answer.
All right. Okay, this one's going to seem like an odd question, but that's okay. What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life in the last 6 months?
Ooh, most positive impact, huh?
$100 or less.
$100 or less. That'd probably have to be like this guy right here, my planner. This is your whole life in one notebook. This is a full year's worth of since I think June, and so I think that's where it kind of lays. It's always there. It's open when you need it, and you kind of fill in your whole life right there. And that's for business or just for my routine as well. So
excellent. Hey, Avery, you're getting. Oh wait, she's leaving. Miss Cherry was just. Did you ever have Miss Cherry?
Mr. or Mrs.?
Oh, Mrs.
I did not.
Oh, okay. She was. I wasn't sure if she had you as a student. Okay.
No.
Good answer. Being well planned and having your life in order and stuff. Okay. Here's another one that's a little bit maybe out there for you. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere, like along the freeway or whatever, with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, getting a message out to millions or billions of people, what would you want to be on that billboard? What would be the message that you would want to get out to people?
Well, if I could have 2, I would have one with a giant lip balm on it, just the
Okay.
biggest one out there, just let everyone know what bump standard is.
Okay.
But I guess the real one would probably just be, just be like a nice quote, just kind of encouraging peace, or just like love your neighbor or something like that. I think that there's a lot of division in the world right now. And I think that, if people can see peace when they're driving by, or just know that, there's better than what we're doing. I think that's definitely something to give someone a little bit of encouragement throughout their day. It doesn't have to be love your neighbor or anything, but it should just be something encouraging. I want someone to smile when they're driving by. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this world right now that can be fixed. So yeah.
That's a great answer there. And I hope you guys are writing some of these things down, because it's good to be gathering these things from other people and seeing how there's some real similarities between people that have become leaders in society, whether it's in business or sports or education or whatever. You'll see that many of them have this exact same way of thinking. Avery, there was in the book that Tim Ferriss wrote, he sent emails to these, hundreds and hundreds of people. And one guy, to this particular question, I thought his answer was pretty insightful. He said, and it kind of goes in with what you're saying. He said that he would like a billboard that would change depending on who is looking at it, and it would have that group of people, that the person who's looking at it, that group of people that person really prejudges or looks down on. And it would have one of those people sitting next to their dying grandmother holding her hand. And he thought by doing that, it would remind people who are looking at it that no matter who this person is, these people that you really have a hard time with, they're really just like us, and they go through hard times like us, and that sort of thing. So anyways,
I like that.
okay. What is an unusual habit or just something crazy that you love?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Habit. I don't know. I collect like precious metals. I guess that could be something odd. Ever since I was a kid, I was just always infatuated with gold and silver and bars of just like metals, and I've just collected them ever since. So that's something probably it's not too heard of too often. That's the first one that comes to the top of my head. So
tell me, you have a gold bar. Do you have a gold bar?
Not a large one, but it's a gold bar, so I'll take it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. All right, a great hedge against inflation. That's good.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so this one's a little bit more serious. What is a significant challenge over the last 10 years that you've had to overcome, and how did you overcome it? Because we all face challenges, right? I mean, everybody's going to face challenges.
Totally. I'd have to say I've been blessed with a pretty amazing life. So I haven't like, knock on wood, I haven't had any deaths within my family or anything like traumatic happen to me. So I'm very blessed about that. So I'd say like a significant challenge to overcome would definitely be the struggles within starting a business so young. I think there are a ton of things that you don't know when you're starting a business right out of high school. You're not educated primarily in that sector, and so it's a lot of learn by doing and a lot of mistakes that come along with it. And so there were a lot of scary things that happened to me as far as like lawsuits and such, and nothing's like, it wasn't purposeful or anything, but a lot of when you get into business, you learn that a lot of the big guys, they don't really care about you. So that's kind of a lot of things that you have to overcome like that, and it's, I don't know. I think everything happens for a reason, and you get through it. But yeah, it's tough to overcome things like that when you don't really know in a situation. So definitely surround yourself with people that know what they're doing, and everyone that can help you out.
Yeah. So yeah. Tell me, you don't have to name any names here, but did any of the any other lip balm people?
Yep.
With you?
Yeah, I had about three large companies come after us, and a lot of it is just kind of phallicized. So they a lot of them want to just sue you just to get you out of business, and it's not even if you're in the wrongdoing. It's their bully tactics, and it's really rough, when you're struggling and 18, 19 years old and you're trying to get a business off their feet. You're working 3 jobs to get everything done, and then you have this on top of it. A lot of anxiety and a lot of scared times during those. So
Right.
yeah.
But you needed that experience to be where you are now, right? I mean, right.
Yeah, I look back and I'm just like, wow, like I'm so grateful those things have happened, because now I know better. And now I know what to do. I can hire legal representation. Like I didn't know what that was back then. I didn't know how to hire a lawyer or anything like that. So it's just, like I said, it's a lot of learn by doing, especially when you're young. So
Right. Yeah, sometimes we want to avoid all the difficult things. We want to avoid the challenges, and we get fat and lazy instead of, becoming who we're supposed to be by doing
Totally.
other things. Okay, so this may be roughly the same answer you just gave, but hopefully we'll go a little bit more in depth. How has a failure or an apparent failure set you up for later success? And do you have a favorite failure?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I think in business, like even in just like your life, like I think failure is essential for growth. Like you don't learn by doing everything right. It just doesn't make sense. Life doesn't work like that, to be honest. And so, I mean, I can name countless of times where I failed, and whether that would be in a business relationship or an actual relationship. Lip balm recipes, I've failed plenty of those. And I don't think I have a favorite failure. I think they've all kind of led up to me being who I am today. And I think that's kind of the course of everyone else's life as well. You don't learn by, like I said, by doing everything right. You learn by doing things wrong and correcting yourself and capitalizing on your mistakes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What experience would you say that you've had has done the most to prepare you for being the successful leader that you are now? And that doesn't have to be a lip balm thing. That could just be, because, leaders, they're leaders, and you happen to be a leader in a business, but, you could also be a coach. You could also be a whatever, because the skills you have, your character and stuff. So what do you think has happened in your life that most got you to be the kind of person you are today?
I personally, I love watching videos. I love watching videos on successful people and why they're successful and if they're actually good at being successful. There are a ton of people who make a lot of money, but I don't think they've lived a successful life. I don't think they've done good things for the people and the planet as a whole. And so I think I just remember this vividly. One time I went to this business conference. I was right out of high school. I went to San Francisco. I got free tickets. I was super pumped about it. And this kind of does relate to business. And the speaker at the conference was talking about how it really doesn't matter how much money you're making or how much profit your company is making, but if you like your team is working well and you have good people behind you and just you can enjoy life with them, whether it is business or just living your life. If it's I think life's better as a whole than just by yourself. So. I guess I can't attest to my being successful. I don't think that is something that you can tell yourself. I think that's something that your peers would have to tell you. But I think being a good person and helping those around you is probably the focal point of those. So, yeah.
Awesome. What do you see as you look in your crystal ball? What do you see are the biggest challenges that lie ahead for this current generation?
Biggest challenges. I think there's probably just the division in this world. I think there's a lot of hate going on, and whether it's politics, religion, or even just whatever is going on in your life, I think that there has to be more coming together and unity in this world. And I think that a lot of social media and a lot of bullying and a lot of everything that's kind of going on in this world has really just shown people's true colors, and you hope for a better world, a better, more peaceful world where people can get along and they can work together. And I know it all sounds cliche, but like that's just what you want. You pray for that type of the world and that type of life. And I think that's a big challenge, is people disagreeing with other people, and so constantly, to the point where it's just like we're living in two totally separate worlds. So it's tough.
Yeah. What do you think it would take what do you think is going to have to happen to get past this? Is there a way past it?
I think there is. And I think that when you look at things at more on like a micro scale, more than like helping the world as a whole, I think when we start working locally and we start doing better locally, I think that's where we're going to start having a bigger impact, because we're able to actually, you can only help someone so far on the internet. You can donate money, you can send them a video or something, but like when you actually have your hand on someone's shoulder and you can, help them, and whether that's anything in life, it's not just business, it's not just, it could be, helping your parents more, helping those less fortunate, just building people up. I think that's really how we do work on this. But I'd say the main thing is just work locally and do good, and stop being so consumed with social media and the news and anything like that. So,
well, that from your mouth to everybody else's ears, wouldn't that be something, if everybody just put their hand on somebody else's shoulder and help the person next to you?
Definitely.
Could make a world of difference. Okay. What, being a business leader and just, a person of your age, and, walking the road that you've walked, you've had to make some pretty tough decisions, I would think, whether it's in business or in life. How do you make tough decisions, and what do the toughest decisions tend to be based on for you?
For me, I definitely think, because I work, like, my world kind of revolves around my business and my family. So as far as business goes, just making tough decisions, just go by a lot of thought and rationality, behind every single decision you make. And they're not always right. Like I say, I fail literally probably every day, and I have these little hiccups that I learn, and I learn to, progress. But I think as far as like hiring people, I have those tough decisions. I have, decisions within the business itself on how to grow, and I have to listen to other people's decisions that are within the company. And yeah, I don't think there's really a way to describe how I tackle the decisions themselves. It's more of just finding like a common ground within everyone who's around me, and then we kind of go from there.
Do you ever get to a point where you don't have to make tough decisions anymore?
No, it only gets tougher. So, yeah.
So as people look at their life right now, as high schoolers looking at their life right now, you can look back. That wasn't that long ago for you.
Yeah.
Would you say be happy because it's only going to get harder, or what would you say?
Definitely. See, I loved high school, and it was easy. It was easy going. When you have a lot of support, and then you have to support yourself, and that's where things get a little tricky. And then you get a wife, and you get a husband, or whoever. It's hard. It's life. Just so many different things get thrown at you at once, and I think you just got to kind of dig down and just get through it. And like I said, help people along the way. And I think that's really the only way you can live a successful life. So,
well, you've this next question is gonna be kind of easy for you, because one of the most important people in your life is also one of the most important people in your business as well. But generally speaking, when it comes to you looking for people that you want to surround yourself with, or people that you want to hire, what kind of people are you looking for to join the Avery Shannon team?
I think I'm just looking with someone that has a lot of ambition, and like we just hired on one of he's going to be a warehouse kind of assistant, and I think it's big to just, what we kind of do is like, we don't really care for resumes that much. Like we don't really care about I don't know. As far as hiring goes, like I want someone that's in it and they're so willing to help, and no matter what it is with, if they have to do something that's kind of out of their lane or something, they have like just no questions asked. They want to do it. Like they're like a real go getter, and I think that's more effective than someone that has a degree from Harvard who's an introvert. It's hard, and I think that being a people person and just being someone that is willing to work hard, and I think I value that over a lot of other things. So it's definitely the person you are and the person that you can to be involved within the team and help everyone else too. So
That kind of person, the person with character, the person who's working hard, who's got a personality, who can communicate, those are kind of key things for success in every, not just at your business, but like in business and in life, really.
totally,
Right? As
totally.
opposed to the person who says, that's out of my lane, that's not my job, isn't it? Don't I get to leave at 4:30?
Yep.
That kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Have you found that the people that finding those type of people are getting easier or getting harder to find?
A lot harder. I mean, I haven't. I mean, I'm only 23, so I've only had so many years of actually being in business. So, but I can just tell like just this world is kind of shifting everywhere as far as just being so closed in, and everything's on your computer and your laptop, and especially with like we're doing right now is this you guys aren't teaching at school, or I don't know if you guys are you guys teaching at school?
Well, I actually have a handful of students in my classroom right now, but
Okay.
we come back in January, but mostly it is over Zoom until
Mhm.
January.
It's just difficult. I mean, you don't get that human connection. You don't. I don't know. There's a lot going on right now, but I'm just saying, as far as how kind of what you were talking about is you need people there, and yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one
I
to
think,
answer. So
sometimes people talk about how it's only getting harder to get a job, but I think the more people get wrapped up and sucked into social media and become less able to have a conversation and don't know how to look somebody in the eye or give somebody a handshake, it makes those people who have those necessary soft skills, they're just going to stand out from everybody else, and they'll have it easier to get a job.
100%. No, I couldn't agree more. That was spot on what I was trying to say, but it didn't come out like that. So
Hey, do you have do you have a do you have a make or break question or a make or break thing that you're looking for? For example, somebody comes in for a job. Is there? I've heard it said that in the first 7 seconds, you'll know that you're not going to hire them. Now, you don't know if you are going to hire them, but you'll know there's certain people that in 7 seconds you go, okay, that person's out. So
totally.
is there a make or break thing that you're looking for when somebody either talks to you on the phone, hey, I'm looking for a job, or walks into your office, or a question that you ask that will really determine their future?
Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, it's pretty easy to tell if you're gonna hire someone or not. For me personally, I mean, if they have energy, that's like a huge thing for me. Is you have to stay kind of upbeat, and if you're like, I don't want you to come in to meet me and get hired and just like slouch over and just like, softly shake my hand. I wanted just someone that's like, hey, like that's confident, And I think confidence is huge, but not in a too much of a pressing way. So I think that confidence is key, and like you said, within a minute or two of just getting to sit down with someone, you can definitely tell if they're going to be ready for the job or not.
Okay, if the person walks in with a tie on, is that a plus or a minus?
It depends. I mean, we're not too proper of a business, so I really I don't judge. I don't judge. I really don't. I don't care. And if they wanted to come in sweats, I wouldn't be too stoked about it. But if they nailed the interview, they're hired. So
Okay, do you have a question that you ask that's like, man, they better not blow this question?
no, I mean we don't like have a list of questions. Like yeah, yesterday we were hiring. He's a 20-year-old, and he had the energy, and he was just there, and that's kind of just what we're looking for, and someone that wants to work and wants to work around everybody and help the crew as a whole. And I don't think we don't have a list of questions. I kind of just go off the top of my head. So
Did the 20-year-old get the job?
he did.
All right. All right. Excellent. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit have you taken on that has most improved your life?
Probably it kind of goes along with the planner, just creating a schedule, staying on top of everything. When when you're getting, 50 emails a day and you have to manage all this other stuff. I mean, it might be a little bit different, but as far as from a business standpoint, it's just tough to keep on track of everything. And so if you can really plan out your day, plan out your schedule, get your meetings all aligned. I think a schedule is probably one of the most important things that you can ever set yourself up with.
And that's really about having a goal and having a focus on a daily basis, right?
Totally.
When we're just kind of failure to plan is planning to fail. I mean, if you don't here's the things that I'm got to get done today. Okay. So you've kind of gone about things a different way. Did you the lip balm all took off, and I mean, I know it's a lot of hard work and stuff, but pretty much since high school, that's been your focus, correct?
Yeah. So I went to Cuesta for a year and a half, and I pretty much just absorbed everything. I took sales, I took everything as far as business calc. I took everything that I could that I figured would help me in the long run as far as with my education within the business realm. And then from there on out, I was working a couple other jobs while starting the business as well to kind of rack up some money. I never really had money from my family or anything like that. So it's definitely been a grind, and this is all I've really been doing. So.
Okay. So that fits in perfectly then. So a lot of and this is not to downplay anything that I'm about to say, but students, and really anywhere in life, there's always someone to give them a recommendation and say, hey, if you want to be successful, you should do this or you should do that. You didn't take the full college 4-year university route, and yet in most people's eyes you're pretty successful at what you're doing. So I want to know, what is a bad recommendation or some bad advice that you received that you didn't take, or maybe you did take it?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a tough one. I think I could go generic and say they said go to college, they said get a degree. Yeah, I'm all for college, I'm all for education, and I'm also all for educating yourself. So it doesn't take, there's a difference between someone who I think who really wants to succeed and they'll do anything to succeed versus those who just think that success falls in your lap. And I'm not just talking about making a lot of money or being successful in that sort of way. I'm just saying persistence is key, and you want to just keep grinding. And they say you can become a professional in anything you do if you study it for 9 months, a year, if you consistently work at it. So in those terms, you can be a professional at anything you want, and that doesn't mean you need to go to school. I mean, if you want to be a neurosurgeon, then yes, you're going to have to go to school. There's kind of limits to what you can and cannot do with and without a proper a degree or such. But I do think that the biggest thing as far as some bad advice would be, telling someone that this is the way that they should be living. And I think everyone has their own ways of going about things and doing such. And I was a great student. I had a great GPA, but school just wasn't for me. And I knew that if I could just educate myself, and I'm not going to learn about how to make lip balm in school. It just doesn't happen. And that's kind of what I noticed is I'm going to get more real education and knowledge, doing real life, through real life experiences. And so you don't learn how to get sued in business school. It's a lot of these real life experiences that really help you out. And I think that when a lot of people they say they should do one thing or another, I think it really limits people on what they actually can be doing. So.
That's great advice. Great advice about not taking everybody's advice, but it's really about having passion for what you do, right? And your thing about 9 months I had a friend who said that he kind of almost along the exact same lines as you. He said that you can become an expert in anything. You just got to put in the time. And this guy who passed on this story to me said that he had a friend who every night would spend an hour reading about identity theft. Everything there was, every article that came out, everything. And he said within a year, by the end of the year, the FBI were contacting him to get advice from him on how do we help stop this. And it just seems like so many things today, people's knowledge of it is so small, and there's so much information out there that you could get. And since people don't really dive really deeply into things, you can become an expert in the world's eyes pretty quickly by putting in the time and effort. And
yeah, and that's what I was just saying. Like, persistence is key, and also just having ambition to do something. I think like you can spend 3 hours playing a video game, and you can also spend 3 hours of actually obtaining knowledge that's really going to set you apart from those who are watching TV, or just doing something that doesn't really. I'm definitely saying like have your leisure time and stuff, but there's also a fine boundary between if you want it that bad, then you have to do what it takes. So.
Okay, I got 2 questions left for you. So this is probably the wrong time to ask this question because of what you just said, but what advice would you give to our high school, especially like our high school seniors, high school juniors? What piece of advice would you pass on to them?
I'd probably say, I mean, I'm obviously going to tell you to work hard, but I think just following your passion. I think really just doing what you want to do. It's hard for me and my wife specifically. Our parents didn't really approve of just dropping everything and making lip balm. It sounds kind of like a fantasy. It sounds like it's not realistic, but like I was saying, if you just put your heart into it, and no matter if it fails or not, at least you've tried, and at least you've put in the work, and you've gained that knowledge on like life and business as well. So I think just follow your passion. I'm not going to, say don't go to school or go to school, or, just do what's best for you. And I think if you do work hard enough, you'll be successful no matter what.
That's great. So we have in the class, we watched a TED Talk. We've been talking about what it means to be a leader, what a leader is, what a leader does. And in one particular TED Talk, we watched a guy named Simon Sinek, and he talked about describing leadership as someone who takes care of or looks out for the person on his left and on his right. He said anybody can be a leader. You just got to care about the people that are right around you. And you kind of said something like that at the beginning, that you can't, you can't, it's the putting a hand on somebody's shoulder. It's the being there, that makes the difference. So we have the definition that a leader is someone who takes care of someone, or takes someone from where they are to where they need to be. With that definition in mind, taking someone from where they are to where they need to be, would you say that you're a leader?
I've kind of mentioned this before. I think it is hard to, you can tell yourself all day long what you think you are, but it's really kind of up to the people that look up to you, or even just like your peers just around you, and how you treat them. I think they will be the biggest teller of if you're a good leader or not, and if you're even a leader at all. And so I think I don't think anyone can really put themselves in a position to call themselves a leader. Because there are many leaders that are very bad leaders, and just because they're sitting at the top doesn't mean that you are a good leader. So I think definitely stepping down and becoming more with the general, just considering yourself as equal. If you're running a company, and if you have thousands of employees, I just think of seeing yourself as equal to, say, the person, the janitor, or those who are at the base paying jobs. I think that if you can really include everyone, then I think then you'll get a lot more done than having some kind of self-absorbed notion that you're better than everyone else. So yeah, that's kind of a tough question. It's hard. I think it's hard for anybody to answer. I think it's easier for other people to consider that.
Okay. So, and I agree with you. I think that's a very humble humble position to be in. I used to have a guy come and speak in the class, Matt Holguin. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a co-owner of Give Fitness in Tascadero. Anyways, he, on his business card, he's the CEO of his company, but his on his business card, he just says, I'm the chief helper. And he's got that viewpoint of my job as a leader is to help other people around me be successful. So something that you didn't bring up that I wanted to bring up about you is you're not just about making the money, but you're also using the money and using your abilities to help other people, right? Tell us a little bit about that. I'm thinking specifically Uganda is what I'm thinking of.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, it's hard for you to consider yourself successful if you haven't really helped people, and that's just kind of me and my wife's philosophy. And it's what we kind of do is we partnered with a charity called Love One, and this charity pretty much like rehabilitates and helps the malnourished children, specifically children of Uganda. And so they build centers and they provide meals and lunch and school and education for all the kids that are kind of underprivileged and they don't have access to all of the things we do. And so we partnered with them, and we have made actually charity bombs, we call them. And the charity bombs, every bomb sold, it provides 18 meals to the children of Uganda. And so you can buy those on the Love One side if you want to help. But the main thing that we've kind of been doing is we've been trying to be more proactive in the way we help. And I think with COVID going on, it's definitely a lot harder to travel and do the things that we'd like to be doing. So we've provided over 250,000 meals selling these bombs, and we're very excited and happy to share that.
That's great. Have you gone to Uganda?
I have not, and that's kind of what we've been waiting for. Our plan was to go this summer, but trips have been withheld, so it's kind of difficult to get out there.
Yeah. Hey, this has been really this has been great. It's been great to catch up with you and hear the things that hear what you think about these different things. I got one other thing to ask you about that you didn't mention, but I know people would probably be pretty interested. Tell me about Ellen.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if you've seen the show, but Ellen was on she has a game show called Ellen's Game of Games. And luckily we had the opportunity to go to one of Ellen's shows. And from there, I kind of got picked out of the audience, and they had me kind of do an audition tape for the Game of Games. And I made it onto the show. It was like a 4-month process of interviews, doing games with the one of the head people of Ellen. And I got on the show, and I almost won, and I didn't. So I guess it doesn't count.
What was the game?
It was called the Great Taj Mahal. And so it was like an I Spy board. So you'd have this huge, it was like a 300-foot screen in front of you, and it was kind of like I Spy. And so you had to remember as many items as possible, and then the screen would shut off, and then you're playing against 6 other people. And if you guess something that's not on the screen, because it keeps going from person to person until someone says something that's not on the screen. And then, I made it to the 5th person, and then some lady beat me, and I was pretty bummed. Wow. Almost had $100,000.
Was that what it was? 100,000? Oh,
yeah.
No. That's tough to be that close, and then
Like be a naughty.
So, last thing for you, and this may come as a curveball to you, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. If you had 30 seconds, and we gave you a microphone, and everybody in the world would hear what you had to say, and you got 30 seconds. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to end this, and to share with whoever sees this what you think. And this could be about anything you want it to be about, how to improve the world, how to improve life, how to be successful, whatever. Okay, ready?
No, I'm not.
You got 30 seconds, and I give you Avery Shannon.
Hi guys, I'm Avery Shannon, and I just want to let all you guys know that you are amazing. And I want you to know that if you don't love one another, then nothing's ever going to be done. I kind of want to be a politician too, so maybe I'll do that one day.
That's awesome. Hey, that was 20 seconds. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Hey, thanks, Avery. That really that was great to hear from you. Great to hear the things that are going on for you, and super excited about seeing one of our own Templeton just be so successful and have it start from something. I mean, really, it's successful because of who you are, and the lip balm and Dio's project. I mean, that was just an avenue that it took, but you would have been successful regardless, just because of the guy you are.
Thank you. I
appreciate it. So appreciate that about you. And we're going to have a good discussion about you at some point later on and see what the kids most took out of what you had to say. But I think that the things you shared are things that, even though you're speaking about it from a CEO or not CEO, but from a lip balm corporation, it's really what a lot of people think. A lot of our most successful leaders think the exact same thing. So appreciate you coming, and I'd love to have you back some other time to have
Totally.
You. Okay.
Well, whenever you need me. So thank you guys for your time, and
all right.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.